Well, that sure is a lot easier when I can play it from a recording so I don't screw it up. Oh, very, very novice. Anyway, everybody, welcome into the Fallout Shelter. I sure will be glad when I'm able to do this again the way I used to do it. Oh, let's see what we got here. I can see the chat scrolling. I would have tried to been joining the chat, but I had to look for kittens that were running around crazy outside and finally found the last one. It had already come in and hid somewhere. So how you like them apples? Ah, Laura K, Captain Tom, Silent Walk, Barb, Betty, Denise, Tab, Disavowed, Rare Breeds. Much love to all of y'all. Welcome in. Appreciate you all. Hey, Jessica Love, Betty R. Let me scroll backwards a little bit. Oh wow, y'all have been in here chatting a lot. Love Pugs, dog named Boo. Wow, Denise, all of you guys, welcome in. Great to see you all. Welcome in. Hope you're all having a great night wherever you're at, whatever you're doing. Rage, Victoria, good to see you guys. All right, everybody, welcome in. Welcome in. Well, I told y'all I've had a lot on my plate that I wanted to be talking about, so I don't know exactly how much truth there's going to be in here, but it sure is going to let me get some complaining out about the way that I see things. That and quite frankly, just to get us all together a little bit, because I was off work most of this week, and when I go back to work, I won't have the time that I did. So everybody remember tomorrow night, 8 p.m. we will be having the Sunday night stream, and going over the thing, whatever else I can find to go over, and we will be taking the prayer requests. And since I was chasing cats, I'm not really prepared. I don't know where my sheet is. Well, let me hold on a second. Oh, there it is. Let me make sure we have this for later on. You guys know what the sheet's for. All right, there we go. Getting it all together. I was very unprepared. Whew. All right. Quite frankly, it's a different show. Hey, Mike, it's good to see you. Welcome in, everybody. Okay. So anyway, you see that I named it "The Silly Things Keep Coming True." What I really want to do is just show the idiocy. And I used to do a thing where we did a show called Laughing at the Lamestream. It was kind of a reacting to the mainstream news. And I used to go over a lot of stuff from a place called phys.org. It's where scientists talk to each other and back and forth, and they place all the propaganda from the science on that area. So I like to use it a lot, and I've started looking at it some more. And wow, did I come up with some things that will probably have me saying some words that we'll just get. I'll probably get a banner on this video. I've been doing good at avoiding them little banners at the bottom. And for those of y'all that are new, if you don't know, I do now have a Rumble account. That'll be the place where I'll try to talk for banners. And once again, I'll say it again. Yes, I know all places are monitored and all places are the same, except for on YouTube, they bow to their advertisers and try to make sure their stuff is advertiser friendly. That's the reason they really don't like us. It's really more of a monetary thing. I don't think they really care what we're saying. You want to know the truth? They just have to bow to those advertisers where the other places don't yet. So that's the place I don't mind losing the channel, is over there on Rumble. Or I have a BitChute channel, but half of the videos don't play. And what's crazy is I've got more views on the BitChute channel than I have on the YouTube channel on my old stuff. Crazy, crazy anyway. Whew. And I had blown my son's phone up for so I could read the chat, and I didn't get a chance to do that tonight. So, yeah, the thing is they're all run by those type of people, Mike, and I don't really care about that, because, I mean, I know a lot of. One night I'll go on and do my kind of I'll tell you all about me again. Everybody that followed me on DLive, I was very open about my past. And let me tell you, the state of Mississippi has my DNA. They have my biometrics. They have everything they could ever need on me, and I worked most of my life for a federal contractor. So the federal government has my biometrics and all of that. I really don't care who runs what. My deal is that I can get information to y'all. If we're not on lists, we're not doing this right anyway. And if we're not monitored, we're not doing it right. I don't really care who owns what. My main thing is how can I reach you guys? And I'm trying my best not to lose this one, so we have our prayer groups. And it has the most followers. The other ones, quite frankly, I don't care. And yeah, everything you do online is monitored. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to say the name of it, and don't type it in chat, please, because we do know that they monitor it. But I used to point out, I call them Uncle Ray. You can figure that out. I'll say Uncle Ray and Uncle Theon. If you figure that out, that's who it is. They actually run the programs that monitor all of it. It's called the MS3 or M23, I can't remember, but it's on their webpage. They're happy about it, where they monitor all social media. And now there's a group in Atlanta that's getting together that want to actually push where they're monitoring all of those supposedly secure tech sites and your text that you send on your phone. And we know all that's monitored. And we know your phone listens to everything you say, or they couldn't direct that advertising to you. So with that being in mind, you're not going to hide from any of that if you're on any social media. If you take place with any cell phone that works on a communications network, you are monitored on a daily basis. It tracks your steps, where you go. For the love of Pete, if you have a Roomba in your house, it's been getting dirt on you forever. So, anyway, that's the way I deal about that. So to me, it's really more about just what can I say at what point in time. I'm not counting out ever streaming on DLive again. We had a lot of fun over there on DLive, and for fun streams at some point when I get a computer back up and running, and I have spent some time working on them, trying to figure out what I got going wrong. And I found one that's actually like my old one that I loved, that I can get really cheap. So I'm probably going to order it next week and just try to put my hard drive in it. So, because I don't think there's anything wrong with my hard drive, and I would really like to get all of that information back off. Okay, that lot in a quick amount of time. Wow, okay, all you guys. I'm not even going to pretend that I can read the chat before I get started. And I'm going to get started through this because I have my camera hooked to a TV with pictures of the stories. Everything that I'm going to go over is linked in the description, and it's linked in order. Actually, I don't think I linked this one. This is actually something that I just want to talk about. It didn't actually... I don't think it actually made it into the description. I will put it down in there, though. Okay. You know, back during the emergency, that's what I'm going to call it, the emergency, for the past 3 years, there was a time when... Oh, and I got my favorite cup out, and I got it cleaned up today, and I got it full of filtered ice-cold water tonight. Cheers. During the emergency, all of your doctors and nurses that stood up and took a stand for anything, well, they just got rid of them. And everybody's like, well, how are we going to replace all of these doctors and nurses that are just leaving? Well, the Department of Justice, or the Justice Department, has an answer for that. It appears that now, since it's all over, a fraudulent nursing diploma scheme has led to federal charges against 25 defendants. Now, I'm not sure why we've only got 25 defendants, and I'll tell you why as I get further down in the story. And I will make sure that this link gets in the description. I don't think I had planned on talking about this, but since it's up on the camera, I will. In Miami, more than 24 individuals have been charged, in their Southern District of Florida for their alleged participation in a wire fraud scheme that created an illegal licensing and employment shortcut for aspiring nurses. Imagine that. And this is from justice.gov. This isn't from any news story, any website. This is from your trusted authorities. Leave that right there. According to 3 recently unsealed indictments returned by a South Florida federal grand jury and 2 informations filed by federal prosecutors, defendants engaged in a scheme to sell fraudulent nursing degree, diplomas, and transcripts obtained from accredited Florida-based nursing schools to individuals seeking licenses and jobs as registered nurses and licensed practical vocational nurses. The bogus diplomas and transcripts qualified purchasers to sit for the National Nursing Board exam. The overall scheme involved the distribution of more than 7,600 fake nursing diplomas issued by 3 South Florida-based nursing schools: Siena College in Broward County, Florida, Palm Beach School of Nursing in Palm Beach County, Florida, and Sacred Heart International Institute in Broward County. These schools are now closed because the emergency's over. We got them where we needed them, when we needed them, and now we're going to act like we're going to put some people in jail over it, or at least file some charges, and then this will disappear and nobody will ever hear any more about it, the way things go. Each defendant faces up to 20 years in prison. Listen, now, all of us, if you're in here in my chat already, you're already thinking to yourself, well, I don't trust the medical field. No, neither do I. Most of us don't. Not only is this a public safety concern, it also tarnishes the reputation of nurses who actually complete the demanding clinical and coursework required to obtain their professional licenses and employment. Really? And like them standing up saying, hey, we don't think this is a good medical procedure, was not good enough for you. See, that's what really gets me about our authority figures. I say that loosely. Y'all get that. That's a joke when I say it. I say it because it'll roll with them. At the time, they didn't care how accredited they were and how much experience they had, as long as they were following the narrative. Well, guess what? They got them 7,600 that will absolutely follow the narrative because we didn't do the work. Crimes such as these, unfortunately, continue to spring up, especially in this area. Healthcare fraud is nothing new to South Florida, as many scammers see this as a way to earn easy, though illegal, money and send everybody that they need to into these positions to give you medications that you really just don't need or haven't been tested properly. So I'm going to leave that story right there before I say something that's just really off the wall. But you get the point, you get the idea. This is from justice.gov. It's disclosure of what was happening. And how many good nurses, and I've had some good nurses in my life, thank goodness, because nurses take care of you better than a doctor because they don't get kickbacks from the pharmaceutical industry. How many has stood up and lost their jobs over this period of time? It's unsettling, and then when you see something like this come out as soon as the emergency ends, it's hard not to put it together and say, hey, what's going on here? Was this intentional? And how many people actually knew about what was going on? And it's not a partisan thing. It's not a left-wing, right-wing thing. They're all crooked, and they're all don't care a rip about you. All right, now I wasn't planning on talking about that, so we will move on. In other news, I would like to take y'all back to January of this year. You know, way back in the future, so far back in the future, nobody remembers it, nobody cares about it. January 2023, like 4 months ago. Remember the gas stove controversy? You know, the conspiring to take away your gas stoves. And nobody will ever do that. We don't want to do that. We were just doing tests to find out how safe they were, if there was some problems, if we needed to make some adjustments, if there was some, Time magazine in January printed how gas stoves became the latest right-wing cause of the culture wars. So they have to go out there, first of all, we're going to divide y'all because we've got half of these people believing that the left is right, we got half of them believing that the right is right. So let's just keep driving that wedge in between them. I don't know what we're going to do about these folks that don't care and just won't have nothing to do with us. We see through your lies. Quick, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I just want to give you a quick thing what it says. There's a new political firestorm lighting up in Washington, and it has nothing to do with inflation or the new congressional leadership. Nothing at all. Instead, all eyes are on gas stoves. This common kitchen appliance was thrust into the spotlight this week after a Democratic member of the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, an agency charged with protecting the public from dangerous household products, told Bloomberg News gas stoves could potentially be banned due to their health hazards. Agenda 2030 like health hazards, taking control. The conversation triggered a sharp rebuke from the oil and gas industry, but also many Republicans who use the issue to push back against what they say is Democrats' is overzealous environmental regulation. The agency clarified on Wednesday this is in January, that there is no plan to ban gas stoves in the near future, and it is only researching gas emissions and exploring new ways to address any health risk. But to keep the division going, that didn't stop conservatives from pushing a narrative, sometimes joking, sometimes not, that federal agents are going to come into your home and rip out your gas range. Let's see. January 20th, 2023. Also, NPR stated, the facts and strategy behind the outrage over rumors of a ban on gas stoves. The conservative media was in an uproar last week over I could read it like NPR. The conservative media was in an uproar last week over speculation that the federal government planned to ban gas cooking stoves and possibly seize them. It escalated into something much larger online. The federal government planned to ban gas cooking stoves and possibly even seize them is not true. But it all started when a government official said in an interview that blah, blah, blah. This is the same thing Time News said. So we have basically the left wing coming out going, hey, that's not true. It's not going to happen. Well, in totally unrelated news topic, just totally unrelated, come out yesterday or the day before, New York has become the first U.S. state to pass a law banning gas stoves and other fossil fuels in most new buildings in a victory for environmental activists. Wait a minute, I just read that there was no ban, and then now we're going to ban, and nobody pays attention to this. This is what I'm trying to tell you. And gas stoves being banned is not something to be fearful over, so don't take it that way. I find this extremely hilarious that the people in the real world, and I say the real world lightly, y'all will learn my language if you're new here. I'm very facetious at times. When I call it the real world, it's really the fake world, because we actually live in the fake world, but we're called that. It's basically the upside down now. But when I say that, I say it anyway. Figure it out or whatever. The people that live in the mainstream world, how about I do that? The lamestream world, they won't even remember that in January, places were saying, no, we're not going to ban anything. They'll look at this and go, hey, we got a win for Agenda 2030, and this is going to be great for all of the climate activists. The legislation adopted by lawmakers in the Democratic-run state legislature late Tuesday will require newly built homes to be all electric in 3 years' time. The move aims to tackle the stuff changing by reducing New York's dependencies on natural gas, changing the ways we make and use energy to decrease our reliance on fossil fuels that don't exist, will help ensure a healthier environment for us and our children, and said State Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie. The law, which could face legal challenges from the gas industry, will require solely electric heating and cooking in new buildings under 7 stories from 2026. For taller skyscrapers, the deadline is 2029, all right up under that Agenda 2030 umbrella. If you don't understand the differences, Agenda 21 was the agenda for the 21st century. It was written in 1992 originally. There was a meeting held in Rio de Janeiro where 179 countries signed on to it. I think it's now up to 186 countries that have signed on to it. Agenda 2030 is the first implementation between 2020 and 2030 of Agenda 21. It's all the same thing. It's just the steps. The next step will be Agenda 2050, and it'll be the next 20 years after this decade, because they're going to try to make a lot of big changes here. And then if we live that long and make it through it, whew, Father help us. We're going to need some strength. I'm not going to go any deeper into all this. You get the point. You get the idea of the idiocy that is put out in the news. None of these people do any, they don't do any reporting. They don't do any type of real looking into this. And none of them give you a real opinion. They are paid actors on a stage that say exactly what the wealthy elite who run the media companies, who run the pharmaceutical companies, who run the AMAs, the ADAs, the APAs, and everything else, they do exactly what the people that sit on them boards tell them to do flat out, no question, or they will lose their job. There are no real journalists in the mainstream news anymore. None whatsoever. You can find some online, but those are actually starting to become exactly the same thing. Somebody gets a little following, and bam, they come in and they're like, "Hey, we'll pay you a lot of money, but you got to say what we want to say." And people go, "Hey, why not? I've already got a following, and I'll kind of make it seem like I'm telling the truth." And I see that a lot because I see a lot of people who change their story over the time. And it's probably not the people that we watch. There's a little circle that I talk about a lot, and I don't necessarily agree with everything they say. But if you hear their name come out of my mouth, I do watch them from time to time. If their name don't come out of my mouth, I just don't watch them. Some of them I don't watch because their chats are horrible. Not like this one here. We got the best chat in the world. I wish I could see it tonight. I'll work on that next time. Yeah, so that's the gas seal. Now, for the thing that's really probably going to be hard for me to talk about without blowing my lid. And this might not take as long as I thought it was going to take. It's going to work out good. This is from physics.org, and this came out, I think, within the last week or 2 weeks. And we're going to talk a little bit now about solar geoengineering. And there's only one or two words that I'm trying to avoid. So I might say solar climate intervention methods. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. This is a new road for me trying to do this right and not lose this channel. And from physics.org, solar geoengineering might work, but local temperatures could keep rising for years. Okay. Let's figure out why. Well, I can tell you why. It's because what they've been doing is not working and it's trapping heat. Imagine a future where, despite efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions quickly, parts of the world have become unbearably hot. I grew up in Mississippi. Our summers were 98 to 104 all the time. We didn't consider that unbearably hot. I look and y'all like overseas and they're like, it's 94 today, everybody's gonna die. And I'm like, what? Grow some. Some governments might decide to geoengineer the planet by spraying substances into the upper atmosphere to form fine reflective aerosols. A process known as stratospheric aerosol injection. Well, you know what? John Brennan, talking to the Council of Foreign Relations, I don't know, it's just recently, like 13 years ago in 2010, said the exact same thing. So this is nothing but a ruse of bringing this into the public eye. Oh, these places irritate me. Theoretically, those tiny particles would reflect a little more sunlight back to space, dampening the effects of, you know, the Earth getting warmer. Some people envision it having the effect of a volcanic eruption like Mount Pinatubo in 1991, which cooled the planet by about 0.5 degree Celsius on average for many months. However, like that eruption, the effects could vary widely across the surface of the globe. And by the way, that eruption put more greenhouse gases in the air than humanity ever has, especially since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, and more than we could put in there over the next century. That's one. Now look around today. How many of these volcanoes are erupting? You don't have an effect. They just want to charge you something else, and you are the carbon that they want to tax and the carbon that they want to get rid of. The elites don't need us anymore. The AI and the robots, that will be running everything soon. Don't believe me? Just keep checking into it. I don't have this up either, but you can check this out. PETA has used ChatGPT to rewrite Genesis in the Bible so that it is vegan friendly. That's in the mainstream news. Check that out. That's what's coming. Get your paper copies of the Bible if you want it. Because in the digital world, it's probably fixing to become a very, very edited mess. And I think that if you look back in Daniel, and I don't have my Bible back here with me tonight. I had it where we were studying. If you look in Daniel, I think it says he will have the ability to change times and laws. And I think some of these things that are going on right now, that will fall into that area. And if you don't have a relationship with God through his son Jesus, I don't know what to tell you. You're going to need to really start studying your Bible, understanding what's in it. And I know people are going to say Mandela effect. I can actually debunk some of those because they're using the wrong verses in the Bible for that. There's a couple of things I can't debunk, can't explain it. But I'm trying because I want to find truth. That actually gets me in trouble sometimes because I get disliked by the mainstream people and I get disliked by the truther people because I won't follow either one of their narratives. I try to follow the science because science is something that helps us to understand what God created. And at that point, we start to look for truth. I don't want a narrative or propaganda from either side. I want to know what's going on and I want the truth. So sometimes it makes me not popular with either side. Oh. Uh However, like that eruption, the effects could vary widely across the surface of the globe. Got off on a little tangent there. How quickly might you expect to notice your local temperatures falling? 1 year? 5 years? 10 years? What is this? Well, we're going to tell you we don't know, but we know. We've been doing this for a while, and what we've seen is it didn't work, and the temperatures continue to rise. And, here a couple of years ago, we said, once we start this, we might not be able to stop because it may be catastrophic. Really? I'm looking up, and I don't see no signs of stopping, slowing down. I can see because I have eyes. What if your local temperature seems to be going up? Well, as it turns out, that is exactly what could happen. While modeling studies show that SAIs could stop global temperatures from increasing further, our research shows that temperatures locally or regionally might continue to increase over the following years. What it ought to say is our results show that temperatures locally or regionally have continued to increase over the following years because we continue to do solar radiation management. I don't know who that is, but I'm not answering it. And policymakers to understand so that these policies are evaluated fairly and interpreted based on the best available science. In an article that was published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences on September 27th, 2022, we explore how the effectiveness of the SAIs test. Yeah, I'm working on it. I have no idea why the sound muted. Test. All right, I got sound on my end. Okay. I don't know what happened there. It just automatic. I didn't do anything to make it come back. If you don't have audio, go out and come back in. Okay. And they go on to talk about natural climate variability refers to variations in climate that are not driven by humans, such as chaotic, unpredictable interactions within and between the oceans, atmosphere, land, and sea ice. They talk about El Nino, southern oscillation phenomena, and inescapable features of the Earth's climate system. Now, most of y'all have watched Mike for years, or you have listened to Jim or Dane geoengineering stuff, and you know that this story is a repeat that's been going over and over and over. Well, I want to show you the next story that came up at physics.org about the same topic, and this one might have come up a little bit before. This one is dated February 28th, 2023. They're running damage control on people like us that have been talking about this for years and years and years. The name of this article is Social Media Posts Around Solar Geoengineering Spill Over into, the conspiring type of theories that people might have. Gonna leave that right there. Researchers from the University of Cambridge have analyzed more than 800,000 tweets and found that negative emotions expressed about geoengineering, the idea that the climate can be altered using technology, can easily fall into conspiracy. This is from the same website, okay? The researchers analyzed tweets from 2009 and up to 2021 tagged with geoengineering. They use a combination of natural language processing, deep learning, and network analysis to explore how the public emotions, perceptions, and attitudes have changed over a 13-year period. When they found how that had changed, they automatically had to deem it, well, those are, the theories. The researchers found that there is a large amount of spillover between geoengineering and CTs, especially around the plane farts. A conspiracy theory dating back to the 1990s. Odd that they said the 1990s. Remember that when I get through with this little story. I got something for you from exactly 1990. Funny that they used that date. The researchers suggest that negative emotions related to geoengineering have a contagion effect, transcending regional boundaries and engaging with wider conspiracies. Their results are reported in the journal iScience. As this crisis with our climate worsens, the search for solutions has accelerated. Some potential, albeit untested and controversial, solutions include geoengineering, where various technologies could be used to alter the weather modification. This has been going on since 1940, at least. Solar radiation management is one hypothetical geoengineering solution where temperature rise might be addressed by reflecting some sunlight back into space. Wait a minute. For all of the last 15 years, that has been a CT, the theory. But now that you're talking about it, the way we talk about it makes it a CT. The problem with this is that the normal people will see this and be like, yeah, those idiots have been talking about it for years. There's no way they could have known about it because they're just now printing it in the scientific journals. Them guys were just, if they were right, well, they just got lucky. There's no way they could have known it because I just now saw it on TV. You know what I mean? That's like, we've been trying to tell you that there's no crazy emergency for 3 years. Oh, you couldn't have known. I just seen on TV that it was over. Television is perfectly programming people through the programming that they put on television. They don't even hide it. They call it programming. Possible forms of this technology could include surface cloud thinning or spraying aerosols, but there are few, if any, opportunities for researchers to test these potential solutions. Really? That is not what NASA says. You should check NASA themselves because they have spent a decade, and I will go look this back up and we will get it back online because it was one of the things that never got hit on anyway for me was spreading NASA's science. NASA absolutely said that this is possible, it's easy, and that these trails have a bigger impact on the climate than anything else up there today. NASA's words, not mine. They have an airplane that's built to fly through them and test them. So this is a flat out lie. Fact check this. NASA, the Air Force, and the Army all have books upon books upon books of research on this exact technology. The amount of funding that's been made available for this research, especially outdoor experiments, is tiny. Really, just a few years ago, and I have a video on my page paying to dim the sun, our Congress, I don't remember how much it was, but gave millions upon millions of dollars for this exact thing. I got to get back into that stuff and know it a little better. But anyway, y'all get the point with this. Now, remember the date 1990. 1990. Here's one. Here, I wanted to read you this. It says that the plane fart conspiracy dates back to the 1990s. Believer in this patently, funny they use the term patently. I'm going to tell you something about a patent here in a minute. False blank, the conspiracy alleges that condensation trails from aircraft are intentionally seeded with various chemical or biological compounds. Okay, look, I'm not sure about the biological compounds, but we're going to go with what we can do with scientific. They're calling this that from 1990. It falsely alleges that these trails from aircraft are intentionally seeded with various chemical or biological compounds. Well, there's a link. It's the last one in the description of this live stream, and it is for a patent. And now look, a lot of patents I never show to y'all, and I'll tell you why. You can pay attention to the dates. If there's an application date and just a couple of lines later, it'll say application withdrawn or something else. Well, you've got one or two things that goes on there, but if it's withdrawn early, it's really hard to prove that it's something that was used. Or what you need to look for is look for patents that have went through their 20 to 30 year cycle. If they go through that, that was absolutely used, absolutely left on the book so other people couldn't do it. The title of this patent is called Stratospheric Welsbach Seeding for Reduction of the warming effect it had on the Earth. This was 1990. We hadn't changed the terminology yet. The current assignee is Uncle Ray. Really? Well, the worldwide application was on April the 23rd, 1990. And it still has a current assignee. Now, it has expired, but it didn't expire until 2010. It ran its 20-year gamut. Now, and originally on 4/23 in 1990, this application was filed by the Hughes Aircraft Company. On 4/23, it was assigned to the Hughes Aircraft Company. Now, that is an odd thing to have happen right there. Usually there's a couple of days from an application and an assigning. Now, it took less than a year for it to be granted and to be public and to go into publication. 13 years later, in 2004, it was assigned to Uncle Ray. We all know about Uncle Ray and everything Uncle Ray does. And that is a word that you cannot say online without being flagged. Trust me, I know. I don't know that you can say that anywhere without being flagged. I used to get flagged on DLive and my streams would shut down. So, we go and it expired in exactly 20 years. Now let me tell you a little bit about this patent. Let me go back and read you the name of it one more time. Stratospheric Welsbach Seeding for Reduction of Heating of the Planet. Now, I'm just going to give you the abstract and a couple little pieces in here. You can go look up the whole thing and read it for yourself if you'd like. A method is described for reducing atmospheric or the warming resulting from the presence of heat-trapping gases in the atmosphere. Remember, 1990, from the greenhouse effect. Such gases are relatively transparent to sunshine, but absorb strongly the long wavelength infrared radiation released by the Earth. The method includes the step of seeding the layer of heat-trapping gases in the atmosphere with particles of materials characterized by wavelength-dependent emission. Such materials include Welsbach materials and the oxides of metals, which have high emissivity and thus low reflectivities in the visible and 8 to 12 micron infrared wavelength regions. What is claimed is a method of reducing atmospheric warming due to the greenhouse effect resulting from a layer of gases in the atmosphere which absorb strong strongly near infrared wavelength radiation comprising the step of dispersing tiny particles of a material within the gaseous layer. The particle material characterized by wavelength dependent emissivity or reflectivity is that said material has high emissivities with respect to radiation in the visible and far infrared wavelength spectra and low emissivity in the near infrared wavelength spectrum, whereby said tiny particles provide a means for converting infrared heat energy into far infrared radiation, which is radiated into space. Now, but they would never do that with an airplane. Hughes Aviation, Uncle Ray, owner of this patent, 20 years. That conspiracy goes back to 1990. Let me read you a little bit of one of the details out of this, and you should read the whole thing. It is a great read if you like this type of scientific stuff. Let me find. Okay. A method is disclosed for reducing atmospheric warming due to the greenhouse effect. The method comprises a step of seeding the greenhouse gas layer with a quantity of tiny particles of materials characterized by wavelength dependency, emissivity, or reflectivity. In that said material have high emissivities in the visible and far infrared wavelength regions and low emissivity in the near. I know a lot of this sounds repetitive, but such materials can include the class of materials known as Welsbach materials. The oxides of metal, example given, aluminum oxide, are suitable for the purpose. Now what they found out is when they put that aluminum oxide in there, it did not harm the engine. It actually polished everything as it went through, and it did its transformation and all that. The greenhouse gases layer typically extends between about 7 and 13 kilometers above the Earth's surface. The seeding of the stratosphere occurs within this layer. The particles suspended in the stratosphere as a result of the seeding provide a mechanism for converting the blackbody radiation, blah, 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 blah. Somewhere in there it actually says that you could add this to the fuels of aircraft and it would be great. I did not take a picture of that page, but it is absolutely in there, and you should go and check it out. And that ends all of the stuff I had up here. And yeah, I had to go through it quick because doing this way, my battery will die on it, and I can't play it through to the TV with the charging cord hooked to it. So that is what it is. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed all of that. All of the absolute absurdity that the news tries to put out to people who will buy it. And everything else. So, yeah, there you go. Anyway, now, none of this is said, and I don't think anything that I've said tonight would have been fearful anyway. None of the, it's the end of the world as we know it. It's going to all collapse and die. I'm not that guy. I find all of this extremely hilarious. I find it hilarious that you can point people in the direction of this type of scientific material. You can put it in their hands, and some people, a term that I coined a long time ago, have the shallow Hal syndrome. They can look at the sky, you can hand them the material, and they will still claim exactly what their overlords tell them to claim. Simple as that. Oh, man. Well, we are not those people. We are the exposers of evil and not the doers of evil, as the Word of God tells us to do. And this is an opportunity I will take for you. I will tell you this here in a few minutes, as we do with every live stream at the Fallout Shelter. We will pray for each other, we will raise each other up, and we will pray for the positive things to happen in everybody's life to give us the strength to move forward. If you don't believe as we believe, I would hope that you would really pay attention to the good people that are in this chat, the love and support that they have for each other, and know that most all of that love and support comes from having that type of relationship with their Creator in heaven through His Son Jesus. If you don't know that type of love and support and you have an interest in it, email me, thefalloutshelternews@gmail.com. I would be glad to get in touch with you and talk with you about it the best way I can. I have no basis to give you any theological teaching. Everything that I believe is based on faith through the heart that that God sent his son to earth. He did his earthly ministry. He died on that cross. He was the sacrifice for our sins. And through the resurrection and the power of the Father, we can be saved. That is exactly what I believe. And I know that's what most of the people in here believe. And I hope that you believe the same thing, because we would really like to have all of you up there with us when this is over. And I don't really, I don't want you to miss that out. I want you to be there because I love you. And if I didn't love you, I wouldn't tell you that. A lot of people talk about, oh, those Christians are so hateful. They push that agenda. I don't push that agenda because of hate. I push that because I love you. And if I don't tell you, I don't love you. So I've told you, and I'm here if you honestly want to reach out, and I will try to answer any questions or at least put you in contact with somebody that I feel absolutely confident of doing so. Uh, you believe in your heart that Christ was raised to the dead by the Father. You pronounce with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, the remission of sins, and through that you can be saved. Uh, and that's why we come together and pray every night on the live streams. I started doing it at D Live a long time ago, and I'll tell you why I did it. So many times we do things in life, and people say, "Hey, pray for me," and you go, "I will," and you see it in chat. Please pray for me. I'm going through this. And people go, "Oh, I'll pray for you," and they put up a little hand, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is a great gesture. But I got to thinking now I'm sure there are a lot of these people that see that and they say that prayer. But how many people do that and then it slips our mind and we forget? So when I see it, I'll be like, okay, well, hey, why don't we just do it? The first time I done it, it scared me to death. I ain't gonna lie to you, because I'm really wasn't that kind of guy that puts that type of thing out there, and it was hard. So that's that's where I stand on that, and that's why we come together and why we do this every night when I can stream. I really hope to be able to stream more and more for you guys, and I really enjoy clowning on the lamestream media almost more than I do pointing out scientific data for truth. I really enjoy that when I find the idiocies that I feel are the idiocies. So with that being said, I'm not going to read through all of these tonight, but I do go back through the chats. I do add it to the list. If you don't want it read, you can put it in the email, and I will just say, hey, we have some unspokens and things of that nature. But what I do is I have a list here of everything that was put into chats and emails. I have a list here that belongs to my son's home church that I visit quite frequently. I don't mind still an hour and a half away. I might move back there one day, but I try to visit there when I can. And I believe that miracles are still worked. I believe God still hears us, and I believe that Jesus is our intercessor to do so. Let me see. I will check the chat for just a second though. Becca loves Jesus. How about that? That's the first name I seen when I looked down. Joe Shields, it's good to be back, brother. Victoria Cunningham, Laura K, love Pugs. What happened, Pugs? You had a wrench. Daryl Calhoun, Silent Walk. Funny, right? It's usually right in front of their face. Yeah, I love that. Me too, Jim. And I love you too, brother. Wow, there's 52 of you guys in here for me. That's actually pretty cool for us. That's a great live stream for as long as I didn't do this. Really, I'm really glad that you guys are all here. I want you to know I love you all. So that's the most important thing. I tell you everything I tell you because I love you. Simple as that. I do my best not to bring any fear, no fear. That was Mike's big deal. No fear. This isn't for fear. This is just to let you know the evil that's going on in the world. And I miss my brother Mike. I seen Dabu put out a video, and all of you know I am not a rap music fan. I was never been a rap music fan, but I really appreciated that work that he put out with the dedication to Mike at the end of it. I know they were a lot better friends than me and Mike ever were. But still, it meant a lot just to me, because without Mike, this would never have happened for me. So, yeah, I appreciated that. If y'all hadn't seen it, you can find it on his channel, I'm sure. But it was touching, and I watched it actually and listened to it all the way through. Uh, and for what it was, I enjoyed it. Now, as a rap fan, I can't get into that much. Eh. y'all y'all hear my intro? That's about as light as it ever got. And as far as the music I listen to now, still listen to a lot of Stryper, Petra, Bloodgood, uh, stuff from the '80s that they considered Christian metal. I still enjoy that, and that's mostly what I listen to these days. Um, so one of these days I'll come on here on YouTube and I will give the same type of stream every once in a while that I used to give on DLive, where I will give you a little bit of my history, a little bit of testimony, and things of that nature. You kind of know exactly where I come from. With that being said, I think now's a good time. If anybody had anything to put in the chat, it's probably there. If it's not, you can still put it in. We know the Father can see it, even if I can't. I have to put on my double glasses and get down there on it real close. I didn't set this up right in time. And so, yeah, here we go. Father, we thank you for allowing us to come together at this time. We thank you that we still have this ability to join together, that we still have the ability to use this time in this area to be able to lift each other up, to praise you, to thank you for all the wonderful gifts that we do have in our life, and ask you to help protect us from the things that we know are going on. Father, we all have to deal with the things that are happening that are destructive to the world. And we ask you to help to protect us, to lead us in the direction, to find the information that will help protect us, that you would have us have, that you left for us, the things that you left on this earth for us to protect ourselves, Father. I ask that you would give us that knowledge and that wisdom to find it and to use it. I ask you to give us all the protection that we can have from it. And I ask you all this in Jesus' name. Father, this list that I have in my hand, I ask you to send the Holy Spirit to reach down and touch and comfort and heal each individual on this list. I ask you to be with them through these hard, tough times. I ask you to give them the relief that they need from the pains, the diseases, the problems with stomachs. And Father, I pray that you'll be with all of those that are struggling and suffering on this list. Father, I pray that all of the ones that we consider our enemies, that you will consider to put a draw on their heart so that they will see their evil ways, turn away from their evil ways, and be drawn back to you, and become a help in the fight that's for the protection of what you gave to us, the creation that you gave to us to take care of. I pray that you give us the strength to take those fiery darts that the devil throws at us and to pick them up and throw them back and not hide from them. I pray that you give us the ability to speak boldly the things that you would have us speak, whether it be of the evil of the world or the greatness of your Son, Jesus, because it's in his precious name that I pray all of these things. Amen. Now I will put my double-looking goofy glasses on, because no, I'm a procrastinator. I still have not ordered the right ones yet. I do have the prescription in my room in the right place to put it, to be able to send it. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. So, I have no idea how long we've been on here doing this. There we go. Let's see. Captain Tom, Suspicious Skies. Yes, Suspicious. I believe the Creator has brought this whole little group together right here, and I believe that we will be strong and do mighty things for the kingdom. And for some of you guys, if you weren't in here the first time or last week, I quit putting prayer requests in the chat. I want you all to know that doesn't mean we won't do it. I do it so that hopefully we draw people in that don't believe like we do, and as they hear and see the way that we act, live, and act toward each other, that we can help bring more people into the kingdom of God, that we can do things that are glory for God. I think I have you wrote down on here, Woman of Wonder. I don't know where I put it, but I think I do. I think I went through and seen your crud. Where did I just lay them on? Well, I'm completely out of whack, so here it is. Um, I did. I think. No, that is another one that's kind of close to your name. Okay. Woman of Wonder. I'm adding your mother to the list, Woman of Wonder, while I see it. Mm. I know Love Pugs and her dad and grandchild. Love Pugs, did your grandchild, is your grandchild better? Pat Evans, I do know you were on the list from pain, and I hope that cold is getting better. I did go through and make an updated list. Yep. And much love is I had kind of did because so many other people said it. I just said I love y'all, but a lot of times I say that just because Mike. And look, I'm gonna tell y'all, I've left messages and had a few back and forth with Mike's family. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm not gonna let Mike's memory go away. A lot of people, a dog named Boo. Add my daughter so I can see my granddaughter. Okay. Yeah, that's a big one right there. That's awesome, Jim Lippy. I'm just a messenger. God was putting that call on you already, brother. All glory be to God for that. Dog named Boo, you were on there. Absolutely. That's awesome. You're very welcome. Don't this is not a selfish time, dog named Boo. This is the time to be selfish. We put this down because we are a family. We come together and we lift each other up. Uh Let me tell y'all, like I said, like I was saying, okay, I'm Silent Walk right now. I'm going to be on at least once a week, every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Central. I'm going to try to make it more, and I'm going to try to come up with something kind of constant. But right now, I'm working back through just being on. I really had come to the point to where I had really come to the point where I had so much going on that I didn't know if I was going to do this. But it appears that there's a need for this, and I'm going to absolutely continue to do so because nobody else is going to do it, really. So, yeah, a Sunday night at 8 p.m. Central is going to be a set thing. And on that night, I'll probably actually kind of read through this list a little bit and let people know. So that's why I said if you don't want it mentioned, you can email it to me and say, hey, I don't want this mentioned. Just I have a silent request. Just remember me, and we will, and I will do that. So I get that totally. I have a couple of those on here. Um, Laura K, Love Pugs, The Watchman, Rare Breeze, Silent Walk, Betty R, Daryl Calhoun. It's good to see all of you guys. And I have been trying to get around to some other streams and be involved again, but that's really hard with my time too. It's just so hard to watch other videos and stuff. 71st birthday. I know that the only way God protected me, Captain Tom. Wait till you, if you never was listening to D Live, I've kind of got a wild story of how we got to here. Well, you know what? I'm going to leave it all right there for tonight, and I will see you all tomorrow night. Uh, I will see you all tomorrow night at 8 p.m., one way or the other. And remember, eyes to the skies, armor up and rise, love God, love your neighbor, love yourself, and much love, y'all. Like I said a minute ago, I'm not going to just finish on that tonight. That is how I will stop it from now on. But one thing that I am going to do right now is I'm going to, if there's anybody that's going to keep Mike Morales' memory alive, I believe it will be me and Jim Lee. I don't think that either one of us is going to let that happen. Jim started a hashtag WWMD, and I don't really have a problem with that. What would Mike do? Y'all don't. Mike Morales was a warrior, and at his funeral, if none of y'all know, I got a message on one of my videos of one of the subscribers actually went to Mike's funeral, and the theme of Mike's funeral was armor up, and it just couldn't have been more fitting. And they said it was a beautiful service for Mike, and everything else. So we're not going to allow, the Fallout Shelter is where Mike Morales' memory will remain, and we're going to make sure that it stays there, because I love that man, and I appreciated everything that he done and the time that he put in. So armor up, love God, love your neighbor, love yourself, and I will see you guys tomorrow night. I love you all. Have a great night. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And remember, you are blessed, so go and be a blessing.